From the flight deck of the astral plane, this is your captain, Starpilot33, here with Condor Blue for another podcast. It's been about a year since the last time we did this, and we decided to do another one because Condor Blue's had a very interesting trip lately that I think everybody would really like to hear about. And to give you a little backstory on this, my last trip, if you listen to flight log number 10, was on a Rice Krispie treat that was made for me by a friend that was jam-packed with about 5.5, maybe a little more grams of PE. And so I enjoyed that so much I decided to get the recipe and make my own. And so I made a batch of birthday cake Rice Krispie treats with funfetti cake mix and 50 grams of PE packed into some homemade buttercream frosting that kind of made like a Rice Krispie treat sandwich. So after having made these, I decided to recruit the help of Condor Blue to test fly them for me, since I just had a trip and I wasn't due, and he was due. So what better time to try out these high-performance Rice Krispie treats on a trip right after the eclipse. So I was very curious to find out what happened on this one because these mushrooms that I used in these Rice Krispie treats were the ones from my original grow back in 2013, and they've been preserved and vacuum sealed and in the freezer ever since. And as of 2 years ago, they were still really potent because flight logs 1, 2, and 3 were all still on those before I did the new grow in 2020. So I was curious to see if they were still packing a punch like they did. And I think we're going to hear all about it from Condor Blue, about how that trip went and whether or not 9-year-old mushrooms can in fact still send you to the moon. So with that, Condor Blue, so what happened on that trip?
It was interesting because it came kind of just in time, because I think I wasn't the only one going through some bad weather during the eclipse time. Even before, I think we've been dragging a lot of uncertain. We are not happy at all with whatever is happening, so we have that dark cloud going around us 24 hours a day. Jobs are going crazy too in different directions, not only the money wise but how we work in these days. So talking about that with my mind and everything else, and having to take some new steps in my life because like everybody else, I'm also getting old, so I have to start looking for a different type of work, a little more chilling in the house or working a little more calm, because all my jobs being very physical and active, which I love it, but at this point it's been too hard, so I have to start thinking about something else, and it's kind of the hard moments to make a change also. And I work in the entertainment business that also is going through some trouble, so we all in the same soup, I guess, everyone in their own world. So those crispy treats came just right after the eclipse, and I was already feeling strange with the eclipse, and thinking about everything else, the war at the other side of the world that we are already feeling in this side, our families and all that, and not really knowing exactly where to go. But thanks God, I have no change with nobody, and that's one of the bridges that I have. But that also has a price. When you have no change to nothing, and you have few possibilities to go, now it's time to choose. And that is a very, very important time in life, because we always get to the point that we have to choose left or right, and then we go left or right, and then we go. But there's a moment in life that left or right is probably the path that is going to take you to a totally opposite side than where you were before, and you have to make sure that you're taking the right decision. And then the crispy treats came.
So was that the left or the right?
Yeah, so I was like, okay, it's coming like in a parachute, like I'm in an island waiting for that, and then comes into a bottle saying, okay, this is it, time to go, and start thinking about it and ask for some advices, because we all know that when we are in that state, somehow we receive information.
Now I'll just interrupt real quick because I forgot to say that when I made these Rice Krispie treats, I measured it out. It was 50 grams I used, and there was 2 different sizes, the 3x3 inch ones and the 4x3 inch ones. And this trip was on one of the 4x3 inch ones, which had probably around 7 grams, give or take, of PE in there. And you say you didn't even finish the whole thing, right? You didn't even eat the whole thing.
Correct. I learned with my time doing herbs, ayahuasca, and now the mushrooms, that I have to listen to my body. And every time I listen to my body, everything goes okay. I never push it. And somehow my stomach with something tells me when to stop. And in this case, I was eating it, and I'm a person that can eat a lot of sugar. So that wasn't the thing that stopped me eating, because I can eat the whole lemon pie with no problem. But this was like, okay, you have enough, and I put it on the side, and that was the right choice, because very soon I start feeling what we always feel, the reduction of oxygen, probably, that we need to start like thinking where we're gonna lay down, because it's not a good thing still standing up.
Was there a lot of like body load? Like, did you feel that heaviness?
Yes, it's like you can tell that you don't, and then I know what is coming. So as soon as I also start like, my body start like feeling like wants to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And I go whining like
the yawns.
When I go like this for first time, boom! I know that is the beginning of the path, and all, I'm just looking to my landing stand, where I'm gonna land and everything. I always have it ready, and this time. I started probably, I will say, about 7, a little bit more, almost 8 o'clock. It was already dark. It wasn't daytime. It was already dark. It was early, and took probably 25 minutes to start feeling like that. So if it took 25 minutes, I knew it was strong, because usually it takes 45.
Now, did you drink the orange juice with it, or just straight?
Yes.
You did?
No,
okay.
I always drink orange juice. Yeah. I even though I don't like the taste of most of the plants that I eat for healing. I don't really enjoy it, but I know the benefits, so that's why I do it, like chewing the coca leaf. When I go to the Andes, I chew coca leaf, and it's like chewing hay. It's not really like a lot of enjoying it, but I know that will make me walk around 4,000 meters over the sea level with no problem, so I'll just do it. And in this case, we all know now that our friends the Mash, they are giving us a lot of knowledge. They are equalizing our nerve system. They are making us think about our problems and solve them during those moments without even knowing it. And this is what happened with this one. And this is why it's so crazy.
So it came on fast, and which is, so far this sounds exactly like they've always been. This is for the past 9 years. These mushrooms sound like they have not lost any power whatsoever if they're hitting you that fast. So then what happened? You feel it coming on and
potent, and then I felt physically the same feeling as the other ones, but then as soon as I look at the floor, I start seeing little tiny rubies and emeralds and gold. It was like it was like a little jewel, but there were like millions of them just the same way on the floor. And I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be interesting, because I never seen those before. I usually seen Shipibo's line, Inca's lines, Maya's lines, and in this case I didn't see none of them. I saw those very, very clear, and then the divine geometrics that I always see when I go to the restroom and I turn on the lights, because when it's dark, I cannot see them. And so I was like seeing all these little 3 colors on the floor, and then I closed my eyes and then I saw them very clear. So I was like, okay, this is time to lay down.
Yeah.
You know, it's coming in very fast. So I just lay down, and then I start seeing those. They are like floating lines. They are not straight lines. They are like jellyfish standing around the whole area.
Well, they're like tubes of light, like the jellyfish like tendrils, but they were like tubes of light.
Yeah, well, they are, yes, like very, let's say, yeah, like neon lights, like let's say like neon lights in different shapes, but most of them like curvy and changing. Different levels, different depths. And then mix it with the divine geometry, which is perfect triangles and circles in different areas. So it's like saying to me that the same way we say is when you go on the 5th dimension, when you're in that dimension, there's plenty of different dimensions in there too. It's not 5th, it's 6th, it's 7th, it's 8th. Because they are all moving in different waters being in the same space. So I start like, now that I'm not surprised of seeing all these, I start analyzing how they move. So I walk in there and I stand still without moving my head or nothing, and I can see it's like a river. Like a lazy river, and they all go in some direction all the time for some reason. They all move kind of in some direction. And then I was like, in that moment, well, I was then there, I saw those lights, everything turned dark. And I felt like we always do the dark, deep falling that ends up in maybe 10 minutes sleep, probably. Right? I still not counting, and I still not being exactly how much I sleep. But during that time that we fall asleep seeing those lights in the dark. But then totally they're out of it. I go somewhere that I don't know, and I don't see nothing until I come back. So then I come back, and usually when I come back, I open my eyes to measure how far I am. Always.
It's like they send you back up to the surface. It's like you diving.
Yes.
And then they send you back up. And then you take a break, and then you go back down again. You know?
Correct. Yeah. And then you take a deep breath, look around, see what's new, because there's always something new to see. There's something new to see. And in this case, I'm very curious I always do what nobody wants to do, which is going into the mirror and look at the
you like looking at yourself in the mirror. Most people are scared to death to look at themselves.
I know, because I know why. I know why people scared of looking at themselves in the mirror, because and everybody that does this, they always tell you stay away from mirrors, especially the
Nobody told me that. See, nobody ever told me that, and I never had a problem with it because I didn't know there was anything wrong with it.
Correct. It's like when I did Bufo, what I saw the day that I saw in the Bufo, everything was peaceful. That was the fifth dimension for sure. That was where everybody goes to rest because everybody was happy, and I could feel it. I mean, that's when I think there is where we go when we die, and that's what made me come back without fear on looking myself in the mirror or seeing the devil, which I already saw him.
Yeah, I mean, like once you saw him.
Yes, once you see the devil and you see how he is, and he scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at the mirror was like, let's say, 1.5 feet, the surface of the mirror, 1.5 feet of my face. I'm staring at myself in the mirror, and the devil started getting close to me without me getting close to the mirror. So I was like, okay, get out of here. So that was time to go. Still give me the chills. That was like a while ago. But then with the shroomies, I know there's a lot to work with them.
Yeah.
A lot to work with them. And I think all we need to do is just ask them what we want, and they will do it for us. That is my thinking. Because when I went to the restroom this time, I woke up and I see all these lights and stuff, and I knew that the divine geometry was there. So I said, okay, man, time to go to therapy. And I went to the mirror, I turned on the light, I definitely saw everything, all the divine geometry. And when I look at myself, I can see my aura. And I can see the blue aura trying to escape, but there was this white one trapping it. And everything was escaping through my head. So my head had like a flame going up, and that was like a blue flame going up, and then the white aura all around me and going up like a volcano to the roof. And I look at myself and I look like a human. Yes, I was a nice human person, and my body, I could see my ghost pretty much. And I was like, oh, okay, that is the aura. And all the divine geometry around it, and I start looking at everything. And when before you know, you are enjoying it, you are analyzing all these things, but then your body starts like telling you gotta go down again because you cannot keep standing up. You're gonna fall on the ground if you don't go lay down again. So all that thing goes to, I gotta go back. So when I went back, I lay down, and then when the first, I will call them, the emergency room happened. So I just closed my eyes, and I know I have past thoughts with my family, old friends, I don't know. We all have some old cakes with people, like problems that maybe we don't think about them, but they're still inside of us. And I was like thinking about some of those old ones, and then I just fell asleep. But when I fell asleep, I was awake in a dark infinity room. There was no angles, no walls, no up or down. There was nothing. It was just one big shadow on my right side, like looking at me, like, and like not trying to scare me, but trying to show me how immense is the emptiness of everything, that you are nothing. That's my feeling. I was like feeling like I was in the middle of a space, but no stars.
Right.
In the middle of the space, no stars, nothing is lit. And somehow, I don't remember nothing about it. I went somewhere with him, kind of it took me, because I kind of saw the shadow turning to look at me and then looking in front, and then that's it. I don't remember more. And then when I came back, I woke up again. I don't know how long it was. I came back, but I came back with a nostalgic feeling of having seen something old that gives me sadness, but at the same time it's a relief, because that's something that, okay, it happened, but put it over your shoulder, forget about it. And I came back like that. I came back like I, after you talk to somebody that you're fixing, no problem, and then okay, that we are in peace now, something like that. And then I stood up again and said, time to go to the restroom again.
Try to walk to the
yes, now it's
Yeah.
time. No, I have to say it in the microphone too. I feel like going to the restroom too, to pee.
You have to, yeah.
My body asks me. Oh, it's like I'll go probably like 4 times, and every time I trip on my nights.
Well, some people are worried about peeing their pants and not losing control. But I've never had I wake up and I gotta go. I've never been to the point where I've never been that far gone.
Well, the thing is, we are kind of used to the feeling, and we kind of control and we walk. It's like a drunk person. The kid is the first time he drinks and he's drunk, he probably won't be able to stand up. But shit, I've been drinking all my life and I can drive a car with half a bottle of scotch.
You get used to that.
You start and kind of, I think it's kind of like that. But we at the same time, we all also know that a little bitty, when it's time, they can put us on the ground with just a little bit.
Oh yeah.
If it's your time to go down, a little dose can, because we are already in that frequency.
Yeah, and you've had trips too where it's been a huge amount, but you had a very gentle trip. And then other trips where you didn't take as much, and it just boom.
Right.
Like you'll tell us at the end of this something similar happened.
Yes. Yes. So in this one, the second time I go to the restroom, therapy time for second time. Let's see what I see, because every time I walk in, I see something different. It's like my bridge to the other side. So I go there, and I see all the geometry lines flying, and then I start trying to understand why they move in this direction. Where are they going? So I start looking deeper in the mirror to see. The drawing that was on my left, it started going in front of me, how far it goes. I want to see it in the mirror, and I want to see it going in. It's a different dimension, because now it was inside here, now it's in the mirror. So it's like it's not, once you are in that state, there's no walls and there's no mirrors.
Right.
Yeah. And I start looking at my body, and I can see from my body coming lines also, like kind of the electric lines that we see in those old Frankenstein type of movies,
like
where
electricity
lines, but they are not broken. They are more like synchronized, kind of soft lines going out in different directions.
What colors were they?
They were kind of golden.
Okay.
Golden lines, like not really gold, but a gold that doesn't shine that much, but gold. And I said, now it's time to, something came to my head that said, It's time to equalize yourself. You have to equalize yourself. You have to learn how to equalize yourself. So I put my hands, because I was kind of losing my stability. I put my hands and start looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm seeing the lines. I'm seeing the lines coming out of my body. I'm seeing my aura also, not so strong as the first time, because now I'm concentrating more my thinking into the lines that are coming out of my body. And there were other lines that were floating around me without touching me. They were like around but not touching me. So I went, look at the mirror, and start breathing deep, because I was also losing my oxygen. I could feel it. So I started, time to breathe.
Yeah,
I wasn't breathing.
They're always telling me that. Don't forget to breathe.
Yes, it's when you start concentrating yourself in all those new things.
Forget to breathe, yeah.
It's like you forget to breathe. It's like so excited, and so it's like when you go under the water also, diving under the water, usually people stop breathing because they can stop. You can hold your breath for 30 seconds, but then you're not supposed to stop when you are diving, otherwise you can blow your head.
Yeah.
So the same thing here. I was like, breathe, and I started breathing, and I can see the lines changing now. With my breathing, my body was vibrating in different frequency. I'm start like understanding, and now I'm seeing the graphics. It's like seeing an equalizer on the screen. What's going on, and then I can see the lines going like a more. They were all broken, and they were going like everywhere, like the pieces. There were pieces all around, and now that I'm breathing more and I'm breathing better, everything started like getting more organized.
Right.
And I was like, okay, that's why. And before I know, it's like, dude, go to the floor again because you're gonna drop. And I was like, okay, boom, time to go to the cockpit.
It's like a shark grabbing onto your leg and yanking you to the bottom of the ocean, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, and it's like, okay, it's like, in my bathroom from the place that I lay is probably 10 steps. I have to touch the wall. I touch the wall. I learned from the natives and that do the ayahuasca and the Amazonas. They walk without lifting your leg. Your
shuffle. Yeah.
Yes, you just keep your touching the floor all the time. You don't want to lift it, otherwise you will lose your horizon. Boom. So I was like, okay, go back to the ground. Back to the ground. There we go again. Everything. It's gonna turn black, and I'm gonna go again. And before, every time I go back, I get into a different place, usually. But this time wasn't like this. I close my eyes, I go back into the emptiness, all pitch black. I'm not getting scared anymore because I was already there, and I knew it was kind of what I supposed to go through it. And again, the shadow comes onto my right side, turns like he's taking me by the hand. Let's go in.
So that was your guide for the night.
It was a tall shadow, and it took me inside. And again, I went somewhere, but this time I knew I was somewhere in the past. Because everything was colorful. It was like I was playing when I was 9, 7, but it was, I would say, a quarter of a second flash that I will give you to see you know what I mean, when you come back.
Right.
It's like, okay, that's where you were.
Yeah.
Where? I remember that place. I feel it. I can almost smell it, that I was there when I was a kid. And that was another lesson, because when I came back out of that one, I felt again that feeling of good feeling of, those feelings when you are a kid.
Yeah.
When you are a kid and somebody gives you a present, or you see your cousin that you used to play and you are 7, 8, it's a different happiness.
So it's like showing you what you used to feel like, as compared to what you go around feeling every day in this world. And like, look at how it used to be for you. Look at the joy you used to have and the happiness, and how the world seemed like it was full of colors and light. And I guess our lesson is we're supposed to remember that and bring that as much as possible to our lives today. But the challenge of doing that seems to be everybody's. That's the struggle.
And I think so too. The first one, my first trip was going probably to talk to my father, because that's one of the bridges that I always wanted to open with him, that I don't really have to, I don't feel like need to, because I had like a very good contact with him after the day that he died, and all those that continuously week, he showed me his presence. So I know totally, I know that he was with me. So I don't have that need of trying to talk to him, because I know he's there. I know he already knows what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And probably helped me too, because he will always push the horse in the right direction.
Right.
You know?
Right. Good analogy.
Yes. Yeah, he always pushed the horse in the right direction, you know? And I feel it that way. And I felt good when I came back. Then my second one, I felt also good when I came back. And after that, I fell asleep again. I sat on the floor and I start thinking, what's the message? What's the message? You know, I already, it's like going to the library and reading 20 pages, from three different books, and you know, and then going with all that information and going outside. Because you got a little bit of something there, but it's not, you don't have nothing really clear. It's not like a story. It's just, you know, it's there. It's like hiding information that it's in your body, in your psyche, inside, where we can hardly go because we're so busy living the ground life. And that's the reason why we keep throwing that closet. We keep filling up that old closet with garbage, and we don't clean the closet.
Right.
And that's why I think the Shumis is helping us to clean the closet.
That's what I felt like. I felt like it's like cleaning out the attic that's full of memories and old things and forgotten things, and you clean the attic and put everything where it should be, throw out the things that should be thrown out, keep the things that are special, and just clean the space. That's what it felt like it was doing in my head.
And
cleaning the attic.
That is what we all humans need in order to walk in peace and secure that what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Because when you are working in a place where everything is a mess, everybody fights, you know that that's not the place that you want to be. And it's the same with life. You know, it's that this is our movie, and we are writing the script, and we're gonna shoot it ourselves. Because we write our script, but then when we're gonna shoot?
Yeah.
When is the shooting day? When you're gonna start really to do what you said that you're gonna do?
Exactly. Yep.
You know, and that is one of my biggest, I wouldn't say problems, but it's one of my biggest doors that I need to open, because everything has a price. There's people that they only know how to do one thing, making keys. And that guy made keys all his life. He born doing keys with his father, and he died doing keys with his father, and his life is fine. And he's happy, and the family is happy, and everybody's happy about that person. Fine. Not me. I live all my life jumping from one thing to another one, but not because I didn't like it. It's because I thought that I can do something more fun in front than just doing that. Yeah. And so I kept, like I always wanted to be a diver. I grew up watching Jacques Cousteau, black and white, and I always wanted to be a diver. And I had to wait until I was 24 to take my first test. And then that's how my life's been. Like everything that I always wanted when I was a kid, the universe started giving it to me now. Okay. I'm not gonna say at the end of my life, but a lot of turns already passed in my circuit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're around the sun a few times.
Yes, I have a few laps already. So, but it's all good. It's all good because I'm really enjoying my journey. And after this Rice Krispie, I took the decision that I've been holding, and many years that I've been thinking about that, which is climbing a mountain. And I've been doing a lot of trekking. I've been around the world. I've been in the base of a beautiful mountains, the most famous mountains on the world. I've been in the bottom, but I never had the opportunity to climb. And I never had the opportunity to climb just because we always put stuff on the side. Oh yeah, I'll do it next year because this year I have to do this and that and I'm not ready. And next year is so there's things in our lives that we don't do because we think that we are not ready. And we always waiting for the perfect moment when everything is easy, when everything has to be going well for you to do it. And I learned my lesson because I'm getting old very fast lately. It's like when the speed of getting old is like a curve. It's like like an airplane going on the ground and they start climbing, and then when it's almost up, it's already 90 degrees going up, and then that's how life is too. It takes a long time from the baby to start like thinking by himself, and then by the time you realize that you are that person, like the road is already like 70-80% of it done, and now I have a lot of road in front. Not everybody, I know that. I mean, there's kids that come out of school and the first day they step out of high school, they're doing very well in the university. They walk out of the university, the first day they're walking out, they're working. I mean, it's not for everybody, but I'm not regretting nothing that I've done in my life, including my accidents and my close calls, because that's what teaches us to. And
so you were sitting there and you were thinking about what's the message?
And the message is for me to start mixing all the stuff that I learned in my last 3 or 4 years that I've been traveling around and healing, because I had a couple of accidents and some pain from work that I didn't know how to take the pain out, and I use the sun, I use meditation, I use water, I use the mushrooms to heal, and it worked, and now I'm working on my back because this is a new pain that it just came, and I have my MRIs. I haven't seen them. I know already that I have a disc that is coming out in between two vertebrae, the fifth and the fourth, and the pain is intense. And I know there's no surgery, I won't do it, and it's in me to fix that. And I'm gonna have to figure out what to do natural to take that pain out. Otherwise, I'll be in a wheelchair very soon. Pain.
I know somebody that could give you good advice. Like me. Since I have the exact same disc, exact same injury, and no surgery. And but I'm not going to say I'm totally better. You know that. I'm not, but I can manage it. That's where you want to be able to manage the problem and not have it get worse to the point where you need surgery, like have to have it. You know, it's a choice until it's not a choice.
Correct.
You know?
Correct. And thanks God, I'm still having a little bit of time before I really go very bad, and it's on me of recuperating those cells and feed them somehow. And we all know the nerve system works with electricity. So that's another thing that is happening to me after my trip. And now that we're talking, I wasn't thinking about it, but now that we're talking, one of the things that the last trip led me is that yesterday I had a drum session in my house. I was drumming for maybe 45 minutes, trying to find out, still putting more in order all the thoughts that I got during my trip, because I'll tell you what is in those thoughts. But I was drumming for so long that I believe that when we drum, we produce energy. And I put my drum on the side, and then I start feeling like an ant was walking in my nose. And then I start looking, and there was no ant. So until I look, and I feeling it was electricity, and I can feel the electricity on the edge of my nose. And it didn't stop right there. It came back later on too. I was laying down, and I was like sitting there and touch my nose, and again the electricity. So drumming kind of charge you too.
The vibrations.
I'll say
interact
so.
with your nerves. Yeah.
I will think so. Yeah. So that's another reason that I'm almost positive that we can heal with sound. Sound is a very good healer, and is related with the mushrooms. Everything is vibration. Love is vibration.
And that reminds me, you said you heard sounds on this trip. You heard noises?
Yes. It's like every time when that's one of the symptoms or advices or bells that rings that tells us when you're gonna start, like the same feeling of losing a little oxygen comes with that. And I know it's related to, because we supposed to feel that whistle in our ears when the oxygen level changes in our body. But it's not only that one that sounds, it's that one plus the turbine ones, that they are like a turbines. I mean, I'm a pilot, I know it's a turbine.
It sounds like spaceship engines, doesn't it?
Yes, it is. And not one. It's like it's like you're on a base, far away from the airplanes, but they're on.
Yeah.
They're on, running the engines, maybe 3 blocks from where you are, but there's probably 4 or 5.
And they're all around.
They're all around. The sound comes from different places.
Yeah.
It's not that it's coming from one direction. It's like, and that's the beauty of this. It's all in the universe is so huge. The only thing we need to do is just close our eyes. That's what I feel, and that's the reason every time I go out there, I know I'm coming back with some new information. People think that I'm kind of not crazy because I'm doing this by myself, but I tell you the truth, I don't think I will do it with nobody else. Because like you told me once, the energy is so different that you might get into something that you don't want to be.
Or your trip's energy and their trip's energy interfere, not necessarily in a bad way, but I find the few times that I've tripped with somebody there, I could not go
concentrate.
I couldn't go below. Like
Correct.
I couldn't really just launch, because I was sensing them and their energy, and I could not detach from that, and it was interference.
Yes.
So I never really broke through. So once I started tripping by myself, I was like, oh, this is so much better.
It is totally, because you really go where you're supposed to go.
Yeah.
Because we pull energy too. On my third entrance, after that was the second one, I took another sleep. I went down again to the deep black thing. I came back. That was 3 a.m, more or less. So I went into the restroom. But when I was about to walk into the restroom, I look at the room that is next to it, and there was a shadow looking at me. And when he saw me that I look at the shadow moved out. So in my trip, I was thinking, oh no, that's your shadow. That's your shadow, that when you got into the bathroom, the shadow went out. Okay. So next day, the first thing I have to do is experiment what happened with the shadow when I walk in there with the light on here, with the light on here, with this not on, and this and that. And I did the 3 times, the 3 possibilities. The shadow will never go in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
It went in the opposite direction. I went in, and the shadow went out.
That was your guide. That was your guide for
like
that.
Hiding.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, you saw me. Whoops. You know, like, whoops.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for my French. And so, yes, it was very dark trip.
Yeah.
And then is when I connect the clips with it.
Right.
So I was like, okay, this is the big black tail that I was dragging.
Okay. Yeah.
This is the big black tail. Whatever it was, whatever happened in those 3 exits that I did to the other side, I don't know what happened, but what happened, I came back in the better mood.
Mm-hmm.
I came back knowing and so secure that what I was thinking and that what I'm supposed to be doing is what I'm supposed to be doing.
So maybe it brought you down to the darkness so that you would recognize the light better. So that you could see the contrast better by immersing you in that void. Then when they brought you out of it, now you have a better appreciation and sense of the light.
It is, and not only on my side as a person in the world that we are living economical way, because whatever is putting in front of me right now is all together. It's like my situation with work, with the family, my geography, where I'm gonna be, the place that I can go. And all that is a project that I had long time written in my head, and now everything is like laying down on the table, and it's just about me going there and doing it. And the beauty of it is that there is no money involved. It is money involved, but it's my money. I don't have to ask. I'm gonna ask for volunteer
Like donations?
Donations, in some point.
Yeah.
In some point. Not at the beginning, because you have to show what you're doing before start asking for something.
Yeah.
So, and my project has to do with the ocean, and has to do with a very deep, dark ocean. So, it's also related with this. It's also related with this, and somehow it's also related with sound.
Mm-hmm.
It's also related with my instruments, my healing, because I did a test with myself and my rattle, because I was feeling very uncomfortable with the storm that was coming. Everything was electricity around us. The day there was the storm that was just coming in, and now it's not that I'm scared or not. It's just my body was kind of achy. So I remember the natives in the Amazon, the natives in North America, the shamans in Russia, the Africans, all the shamans, they have a drum and they have a rattle. And so I was like, somehow it came to my mind, why don't you clean yourself? That was the day after the trip. And I know every time I think about something during the 3 days after I trip, most of the time those are messages that they don't come from my head. They just come from somewhere else. Right. So I was on the ground and I started going like this. But around my body. So I was like cleaning myself with the sound, with my eyes closed, and I could feel how the sound was kind of giving me peace where it was passing, and I could feel the area that wasn't getting hit by the vibration can stay like unpainted, put it this way. Mm-hmm. To the point that I could feel my back, and some point my back was unpainted, and I had to switch to cover it. Yeah. And after I did that, my body was totally like I just had a massage.
Right.
It was totally calm. All that thing came out. So there we go. Every time we're doing this, we're getting more information about healing.
And now you said this was a very dark trip, and I know I get a lot of questions about quote bad trips and scary things that happen, but would you say for all of the darkness that you saw, for all the shadows that you saw, did any of it feel like a punishment, or did it feel like it was part of the lesson, or was there any sense of fear and that you were being punished with this darkness?
No, I will say more like start losing the fear to the dark, because there's darkness. So you can know if you wanna. It more. The message to me is like, okay, you wanna be a shaman, you wanna cure people, you wanna heal people, you wanna get into somebody's life and try to fix what is wrong. Okay, you need to be by yourself in the emptiness to see how you feel, because if you are deciding to do those things, you're supposed to be like stronger than them. And if you are scared of the dark, you cannot help anybody. If you are not ready to face the devil, you cannot help anybody.
Right.
You have to see the devil face to face and tell him, I'm not afraid of you. Because you can destroy me now, yes, but it's about God. He has the last word. So try it. It's all about faith. And that's why that's in all the books.
Yeah.
If you don't have faith, you have nothing.
That's right.
And you know, it's like a bird. The bird that is in the nest, it never flew before. He jumps out of the nest with faith. Because he never did it before, you know? And yeah, that's what I like the condor.
He knows he's a bird, and you're a bird, and bird, that means that you were built to fly, even though you've never done it before.
Right.
You have to have the faith that you are a bird and you're built to fly, and so you jump.
Correct. Just step on the edge, look down, there's like 1,000 meters to the ground, just go head first, and then when you catch your speed, then open your wings. So we have to feel that. And actually, I told you, and I think I said it on the podcast the other day. I already had accidents that put me on that edge that I feel like I stepped on the other side. I was already dead. I mean, not really dead, but the death was next to me, because that voice came next to my ear telling me that if I fall asleep, I'm gonna die. So keep your oxygen pumping. Pretty much that's what that voice told me. And that's the reason that I know there's nobody can lie to me. I mean, nobody's gonna make me change my mind about that we go to another state. Is the pure state, is what keeps us alive. It's inside of our body until our body dies. When our body dies, that little light goes into the universe. I don't know where, I don't know how, but I think it's a beautiful place. The energy is good, and it's all about what you did during your times on the ground. Because if you are a bad person, like we know, we don't want to mention nothing, but we know person that takes people's life for no reason, just for the joy of it, and those guys, they are not gonna be light. That's for sure. Those guys are like candles turning off candles. Once those guys die, definitely they cannot be with the other ones. It's there is where the yin and yang separates. It's a big yin and big yang in the universe. I mean, they're all spinning together, but no, it cannot be mixing together. I mean, no way. The feeling that I had that time that I was in the fifth dimension, something dark can be there, because there's no darkness when there's light, and we all know that. Right. One little candle can lit the whole room, and that's the thing. That's why the human being needs to work in trying to keep the peace, the good around themselves, and create like a chain reaction, like an atomic reaction with love. It's like, okay, I used to hate my neighbor because he looked at me like a certain way. Maybe that was me, that I was looking at them bad, and then they look at me bad then, and then maybe let's see what happened and fix that problem, and then boom, before you know, it was all in your head.
Yeah.
And or it's no problem that you know it's a problem that you know is not gonna change. Well, it's time to steer somewhere else, because you don't want to live surrounded by negative people that's constantly hurting you.
Right.
We have to accept some of them and live understanding them, but we already know when we build our own walls, we know about that.
So this was a full, probably 8-hour trip. If you started at 7 and ended about 3 in the morning, and then you said something else happened later on in the week with that Rice Krispie treat that you didn't finish.
Yes. So after I finish, I mean, the last time I woke up was like, that day was like 4 in the morning, and then boom, straight out all the way to probably 9 in the morning I slept, and my body was a little achy, but I was waking up with a good attitude. I was analyzing everything that I saw. I was analyzing why I saw all those things, and then I started putting all the stuff together. And then I knew, okay, this is your time to take your decision. You have all the cards on the table. There's nothing new to discover. All your plans are clear. You know what to do. You know when to start, when to finish, and everything. There's nothing that you need to. There's nothing, no mystery for me now. It's all up to me when I turn on the key. And for a lot of us, the key is the money.
Sure.
And that's something that we cannot separate from our lives. Is the economic, that we are living now. It's like hard to make plans, but that's another beauty part, that I have no chains. Lately, I don't have commitments pretty much, and I have the moment to do the project that I was waiting for many, many years. And it has to be fast. It's like anything else. It's like an artist that has a vision and say, oh, I'm gonna paint that vision. If you don't start painting that vision and the time start passing by, that vision goes away and it won't be the same. You might go close, yes, but it won't be the same as if you would have started in that moment. So it's the same with the projects. It's like there's a moment, there's a window to jump in the water. It's like a surfing, like going into a cliff, and you have just a window between waves to jump in and go out. Otherwise, you won't make it. So that's how I feel now, and that's why the mushrooms left me like this. I'm kind of with excited, like I'm gonna go into the Olympics to do my. It's like I trained all my life for these 100 meters. And now I'm gonna do it.
So then a couple days later.
And a couple of days later, I start cleaning all my stuff because I know that I have to take a trip. Involves taking different gears, like my mountain gears one. I'm gonna go to 3 places. The first one is a mountain to thank for everything I went through. And after I go to the northern desert, which is different type of clothing, totally. It's like 45 degrees, so none of the clothing that I have to prepare for the mountain has to go to the other place. So I gotta be like very specific with my luggage, and I decide to start making everything now. So 2 days ago, I was start pulling out my clothes, doing laundry, making sure my jackets and everything is in place. And I remember that I left half of the Rice Krispie in the refrigerator because I didn't finish it. My body told me to stop.
So you ate half. That was half of that.
Yes.
So that was probably only 3.5 grams. Because that was a 7 gram.
Almost
approximately. So that was
very
like
close to half of it. Yeah. I couldn't finish it. I was like, I had that voice that told me, dude, that's enough.
See, I never get that voice. That's why
I always do. I get that voice that says, yeah, because I feel a little like in my throat, and I have a little feeling, and then I had that voice that say, yeah, that's enough. That's for you. That's enough for you.
But now it was calling you again.
And yes, I was like, I had so much things in my head that I want to keep putting it in order. And I have so much equipment, from camera to sound to tents and my sleeping bag, my tent, everything. I have to make sure everything goes. And so I'm like, okay, I need a little more energy, and I'm gonna just give a little bite to the Rice Krispie. So I open, I look at it. I was like, it was 10 in the morning. I slept well the whole night. I was like, should I do this? And I know shroomies, they tell us, don't underestimate me, don't play a game with me, don't use it for the wrong thing. And I went like, okay, just a little bite. So I bit just like a 7-year-old bit. What a 7-year-old can bite out of an apple, something like that. And I chew it, I ate it, I start doing my laundry, I start moving stuff. 15 minutes later, I start feeling the oxygen level going down, and I start breathing deep, and I start, holy how, whoa, what's going on? And I'm like, okay, this is the Rice Krispie. So I lay down. My mother called me on the phone and I couldn't answer it. I couldn't talk.
Awesome.
So I went down. I was like on the floor on my spot, closing my eyes, and I went to sleep.
Wow, they had more to tell you. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I was like, and then because of the quantity was very small, when I came back more grounded than usually I came back, not so tired, because it was a short sleep. But I'm very sure, positive, that last one throw me something, because 2-3 hours later, when I was walking around, I look at my drawing bag and I look at the book, the black book with my drawing stuff, and the message was clear. It's time for you to start doing what you said that you're gonna do. So this is your first step. Pretty much, if you don't do this, you don't really want to do what you want to do.
So it's the time is now.
The time is now. So you start thinking what you're gonna do. And in my mind, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna need money. And because I don't have money, my only exit is making oil paints. And I'm gonna start doing oil paints to get some money to get the equipment that I need. Thanks God, what I need is not a lot. A couple of GoPros, a very inexpensive drone, and nothing else. I mean, my hydrophone, which is part of the study that I'm gonna do.
So it's like, we ask the mushrooms a question, or we go with an intention, and some people that they expect the answer to be given, or they expect just the whatever they're asking for to just appear. But it seems like what they do is they show you the answer that you already know. You already know the answer. What
Correct.
they do is they reveal it to you over the course of the night, and the lessons that you go through, you realize that you've always had the answer.
Correct.
And
it's just that you have it all scrambled.
Exactly.
And they force you to put it on a funnel.
Right, and they show it to you.
Yes, just
whether you want to see it or not, with all the dirt.
Yes, it's like everything is floating over the pool. Now grab the net and catch everything and put it in a bag.
Yeah.
And take it with you. This is your time.
Right.
And it's really my time, because one of the things that I want to do is climb a mountain that is over 6,000 meters, and because of my age, it's not recommended. But my guide is a young guy, so I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna go to the doctor. I'm gonna check my blood and everything, my pressure, and if it is a go, I'm just gonna go, because he found these drawings. They are on the way up into the mountain, but he took a route from a different place, and there are these drawings at 3,600 meters high in the Andes, where you can see clear UFOs and the ET, pretty much.
Yeah, cool.
And then there are animals and there are Indians, and he said to me, you have to see this. Nobody, it's not in records, it's not in any museum, nobody took a picture of it. It's his secret, pretty much. It's his secret. So I was thinking, well, since I've been wanting to film something interesting, because that's my life, camera, trying to not to shine, but just to produce positive productions, do something interesting, something new with good intentions, not weapons, not exploding, no drugs, this already have a lot of that. Let's start creating good stuff, like the new thing that people needs to learn. So my plan was climbing with him, going to take pictures and recording video of that place, trying to analyze what is that. Mm-hmm. And climbing back to the top. If I get to the top, take the picture, the classic picture with the flag and all that, thanking all the people that helped me to get there. I come down, And if I can find the shaman that I saw the last time, there's a shaman that lives on the other side of the mountain. He works with San Pedro, which is the cactus that grows in. And for what I hear, San Pedro is one of the most beautiful trips that you can have. I never done it. It's from my country. Since I'm a Condor, I feel obligated to do at least one with him.
Sure.
And he is in a very sacred place. Is in the corner where two rivers get together and creates a triangle. And we all know that where there's two rivers that creates the third one, there's like a portal there. And right next to it, there is a temple, Chavin.
Oh, the Chavin. Okay.
The Chavin temple.
Yeah.
There's where the big monolith is in the center, inside the ground. And for what I heard, is a pink quartz. What it is. And if you walk around the area, you can feel it's like if you can imagine back then the Indians doing the ceremonies over there with San Pedro, and they go up, they go down, there are like passages inside under the ground, and this monolith is in the center of the darkness. So somehow there's a ray of light that hits it from the top. So on the full moon or during the day, it hits and the whole thing is like a pink thing.
Wow.
So there in that area is where all these drawings are. And I got the feeling that it's time to go do a little bit of that and connecting with what I've been doing here. And keep just analyzing all the energies and stuff.
Well, that's an amazing, that's a really amazing trip, and thank you so much for telling everybody about this, because I know since our last podcast, people have been asking, when are you going to do another one with Condor Blue? And would you say, to finish this off, so our scientific experiment using 9-year-old dried PE mushrooms that were vacuum sealed and frozen, final verdict, do they lose potency at all?
I will say no. I will say hard times are coming in the future. So whoever's harvesting, start saving your cake for the future, because you will be able to do it if it's like that.
Load
There's
your freezer
no problem, because we all know that it's not up to us when we go out there. Sometimes we want to go and we just have to hold it because the weather is no good.
Yeah.
So having the crispies ready to go is a very, very good thing, because even to travel, if you go from point A to point B, you're gonna go 3 days on a camping.
Yeah.
You're going to a special place to do a ceremony where you have to wait 2-3 days maybe. It's not a bad way to take it with you.
Right, and keeping the exposure to air, that seems to be what loses potency, and I've verified that because I had some that I was going to take and I didn't vacuum seal it, and it was left just in a Tupperware, and when I did take them, the trip was about 2 hours, and that was it. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me, that's it? So verified, it's the air more than anything. The freezer, freezer will preserve whatever, but it's the exposure to the oxygen, I think, is what causes the loss. So
oxidize.
Vacuum seal that, pull all the air out of the bag, and shrink wrap that thing. It will last. I don't know if it'll last forever, but it will definitely last 9 years.
It will. It will. I mean, who wants? I'm sure it will. It won't lose anything. My thinking is that it won't. If it didn't lose anything in 9 years,
and that was only 3.5 grams. That was my normal dose for years.
And now that I know, now that I know where it took me, I'm gonna take the second.
Yeah.
Before leaving, but definitely I have to do it again, like very soon, because it's kind of my instructions are coming good, but they are not complete.
You need clarification. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I know what to do, but now it's all about asking for the help that's supposed to come to me.
Right.
Because I cannot do it alone. I mean, I don't know. I sound like for a lot of people, they think that I'm crazy because I'm gonna put the rest of my life. I'm gonna dedicate the rest of my life to try to preserve this area, and I might die doing it because I have not. I mean, that's like my new job in my head. Mm-hmm. My new job for the universe. It's like my pay is not money.
Right.
It's like I have a contract with them. So the universe gave me all the tools that I've been gaining through my life. Mm-hmm. Now it's my time to use everything I know in order to preserve this area, which is being attacked by chemicals and humans.
Well, sometimes we think that we're supposed to do whatever our purpose is, right after college. But sometimes, like you're saying, it took an entire life of experiences and learning about all kinds of things. And then you're ready to do that thing, whatever it is, and you find out about it later in life, but that's fine.
It's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah. 80% of the people, maybe 98% of the people will call me loser. Because, look at him. He's, what he does, he's just taking pictures and writing up temperatures and writing up, weather and writing up information about it, currents and this and that and chemicals in the water. But, and what is he making? What? I don't know. Who's paying him? Oh, I don't know. I think nobody's paying him. Oh, that guy is crazy.
Well, that's why you don't care what other people think. You know what the job is.
I know.
You've been to the other side, and they've.
Yes, there's no money in that. Yeah, the money, the currency is love.
That's right.
It's what you do with the weapon, and that's why people don't have many gifts. And that's what makes me feel every time I see somebody with no arms. The other day I saw this guy like digging a hole with no arms, with the neck and the mouth. He was digging this hole, and I was like, Jesus Christ! And I'm complaining about my pain. I'm still walking. I'm not on the wheelchair yet. And look at that guy digging a hole in the middle of Africa with his jaws.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay.
It's all about perspective.
It's all about, yes, and where we want to go and using the tools that we have.
Well, I think you've given everybody an awesome view of what happened that night, and I hope that everybody comes away with a little something from your trips. Just like when I do my videos, they've told me that my trips are for everyone. The lessons that I bring back are applicable to everyone, even though they maybe didn't actually have the trip, but the lessons are universal. So once again, Condor Blue, thank you so much for being a test pilot of these high-performance Rice Krispie treats. And look forward to doing this again, and good luck to you on all of your adventures coming soon. And I want to see those pictures of those UFOs on that mountain. I definitely do. So until next time, everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, keep your wings level, and I'll see you on the other side.
All right. Thank you very much.